programming is brought to you by Local Video Marketing.
Get your total fitness package out. Most importantly, get your red band out. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to go ahead. I want you to put a little loop in it, all right? So you're gonna go ahead and shorten up the band to make it from 41 all the way to about 36 inches long, and then get ready to work out. I'm coming to you with a workout. We're gonna knock it out, and we're gonna get after it, and we're gonna use a shorter band to do it, and you're gonna see why. You're gonna get tension all the way through the range of motion, and it's going to be an incredible workout, and all we're going to need is a little red band. Let's go. Yeah. 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 Hope you enjoyed that workout. Again, put a little link in the band. What it does is it immediately shortens your band, so you're getting tension through the whole range of motion, which is often a problem for some people when it comes to using bands. Now you're not done yet. Hey, get the link out. Don't leave it in. Pop it out. So next time you come back, your band is healthy, ready to go. Good job.
Hi there, this is Kim Lukhard, Hockey Mom RD, and today is the letter D, and D is for dates. Why dates? Dates are portable and an on-the-go snack. No refrigeration is required, and dates are loaded with a variety of vitamins, minerals, sugar, and fiber. Need a quick turbo shot of energy? Eat 3 dates. 3 dates will provide your body with 60 calories, 15 grams of carbohydrates, and less than 2 grams of fiber, making 3 dates a great snack in that 15 to 30 minute window before ice time. What makes dates so great? Let's take a further look at the nutrition inside these wonderful little dried fruits. The B vitamins, thiamine, riboflavin, and niacin, help your body convert carbohydrates, protein, and fat into energy. The B vitamin folate helps your body make hemoglobin, which carries oxygen, and this will give you optimum performance. And vitamin A will help your body make more proteins, and making more proteins can aid in more muscle growth. And vitamin K helps to regulate blood clotting. So if you get cut, your blood will clot quicker, and vitamin K is also important for bone health. And the minerals inside of dates. Calcium, magnesium, and zinc aid in muscle growth, muscle development, and muscle recovery. Iron helps convert carbohydrates to energy when you exercise. Phosphorus is needed for bone health and may enhance endurance. And sodium, potassium, these are electrolytes that you're already drinking in your sports drink. So now when you eat dates, you're also going to be eating some of these needed electrolytes. Need some ideas? Use some chopped dates in a trail mix, on top of yogurt, on top of a cereal, or you can even use a date spread on bread or a toast. Want to learn more about a food? Send it to me at kim@hockeymomrd.com. Thanks for watching, and happy skating till next time.
With a long wrist shot, the ball is accelerated in contact with the blade. With a drive shot, the ball is accelerated with a single contact. The angle of the blade to the floor determines the flight angle of the ball. If the blade is at a right angle to the floor, the ball will travel along the floor. With an open blade, the ball will be lifted. The position of the stick blade is determined by one's distance to the ball and one's body position. If the center part of the body is placed over the back foot, the distance to the ball is greater. If the body's center of gravity is placed over the front foot, the blade is positioned at approximately a right angle.
Arm movement. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Still pictures very clear. Forsberg and Lake Gardner. Now, this is what an author, a power skating author, says. Swinging your arms forward and backward while skating creates momentum in the same way that swinging your arms does while running. What is the most obvious and glaring error in this statement? When you're on ice, you can't push straight back. It's like that guy that I saw on the rollerblades last night. He was trying to push straight back, and I could tell in the look in his face he was really frustrated because he couldn't figure it out. You can't push straight back unless you're starting from the stationary position with acceleration. Then you push straight back, maybe 1 or 2 strides. But you can't move your arms forward and back if your legs are pushing to the side. I mean, I think most of us know that we have to push somewhat to the side in order to go forward and skate, right? And that's because of the physics of ice. So, wrong. Now this is what Marian Alexander talks about in her very elegant paper that is published on the web, and I can't remember the website. A remarkable, elegant paper that I highly recommend you try to find. Her name is Marian Alexander. If you email me, I can email you the link. It's a remarkable paper. She says, it's clear that flexion and extension of the shoulders, flexion and extension of the shoulders and the hips while skating hinders the coordination pattern required for effective skating, and in fact almost impossible in hockey skating. Again, I come back to, if you have 2 hands on the stick, how is it possible that you're going to move your arms forward and back? So I don't have a stick, but just think about I'm holding a stick, okay? And you're going back and forth like this. Not only is it silly, but it's ridiculous. You can't do that. With one hand on the stick, some players will move their arm forward and back a little bit, but the movement is this. It's actually the shoulder movement. It's not the arm movement, it's the shoulder movement. It's the glenohumeral joint. The glenohumeral joint moves like this. It's abduction and adduction. And then as you lean forward, it's actually transverse adduction and abduction. So kinesiology. This is her paper, Arm Action in Hockey Skating is being taught incorrectly. So this is what she said. The shoulder should rapidly abduct and adduct in a smooth movement pattern with the legs and the hips. The arm swinging produces higher ground reaction forces. Think about this. The arm swinging side to side actually produce more force down onto the ice. And that makes sense. Not only without research it makes sense, because we can generate more power when our legs are moving in smooth coordination with the arms. On the driving skate, so the push will produce higher ground reaction forces. Okay, here's how it looks. This is Sean Markov. Watch his arms. Very obvious that he's moving his arms side to side. This is how hockey players skate. Slow motion. This is Brian Campbell. Side to side. This is Simon Gagner, and he's being chased by Shane Doan. He's got the puck, arm movement. Look at Doan. Doan is one of the most remarkable skaters in the National Hockey League. Watch his arms. Watch their arm movement, side to side. And Shane Doan has a beautiful stride. Quick recovery, wide stride. We're going to watch Sidney Crosby in a game because I know what you're thinking, I want to see a game. Here's Crosby. Watch his arms. Right across his body. Yes? You see that? Yeah. The rest of it isn't that good. Now, what I want to do is show you how we do skating analysis, all right? So we're going to do a skating analysis of an NHL player. I'm not going to tell you who it is. We measure them over 44.8 meters, and this is all the measurements that we get. So I'm going to show you this, and then we're literally going to show you how we analyze players. And I think I'm doing okay. I think I have like 10 minutes. Is that correct? Is that okay? I think we started at 25 after. So we time them with speed, 44.8 meters. It's a long story why we use 44.8 meters, and I don't think I have time to talk about that. So if you want to ask me why I use 44.8 meters, it's actually a funny story. I'll talk about it later. It's better when we talk about it over beer, but okay, now we measure how many strides. We measure their strides, how many strides they take over that time period. We measure their strides per second. So we have stride rate and we have stride rate again. How many strides they're taking per second. We measure their velocity in meters per second. Recovery time, here's that blade flat to propulsion. total recovery time, and then we give them analysis for areas of improvement. So I'm going to stand up here and use my computer, and hopefully you'll be able to see this. I think you will. And I practice this, so it should work. Can you hear me okay? Can the interpreters hear me? Yes? Is that okay? Okay, thanks, Lukhard. Okay, we'll watch it in fast motion. I'm just going to turn it this way. And then we'll break it down and watch it in slow motion. So a couple of the interesting things to watch with this hockey player are his leg movement and his arm movement. What do you see with his arm movement? It's kind of weird, isn't it? Watch it in slow motion. All right, let's watch his arms to start off with. Tell me how his arms are moving. They're not really moving in an equal and opposite reaction with his legs, are they? They're kind of they're kind of like this, aren't they? Would you agree? He's kind of skating like this. Watch his arms again. Especially his right arm. Watch his right arm. We really want that arm to move higher, especially right there. Okay, let's bring it back and watch his legs. Now, watch how high of a recovery he has. His leg disappears, then his leg comes in, but watch where his leg lands. He's got a very high recovery. Watch where his leg lands. Blade flat, shoulder, hip, knee, toe. Even though he's got a really high recovery, he's actually a pretty fast skater because he lands right here, blade flat, and he can turn that skate into a push-off skate right away. So let's watch his other skate. Would you agree that's a very high recovery? And watch where his leg lands. Same thing, blade flat, shoulder, hip, knee, toe. So he can turn this skate into the push-off skate. 1, 2, he's actually on his inside edge right there. You can see his ankle is turning in or pronating. And then he starts to push off. Again, a really high recovery. But he lands. Now, watch his upper body. Watch how his upper body, not that one, right there. See how his body is going here and here? So his skates are pushing off, but he's got lateral flexion. Be right back. He's got lateral flexion. Every time he pushes off, he's got lateral flexion this way and lateral flexion that way. So that's relatively inefficient. Would you agree? That's a lot of movement for just 1 or 3 strides. It actually took 17 strides. That's a lot of movement. And just watch the legs again. So there's where he's landing. Now, just bear with me here. I just have to pull something up, and I beg your pardon, I forgot to pull this up before I came up. I just want to show you the document that we prepared, that we give to the player, that we give to the director of player development, and that we give to the agent who represents him. This is the document that we produce. So it's a skating analysis. I've taken his name out, okay? So we just say how we analyze there. We take still pictures, and we analyze it, so we talk about how high of a recovery it is, how high of a recovery it is. We suggest where we would like his arms to be. This is when he's almost got at the end of his push-off, almost the end of his push-off. We want his arms to be up here, his arms to be up here, so he has a better and smoother coordination. We talk about his body. You can see clearly he's got an angle right there. Clearly he's got an inefficient angle right there. Okay, so we give him all the times. Over 44 meters, he was 5.66 seconds, which is actually really fast. But for a player of his caliber, we want him to be 5.5 or 5.25. He's a number 7'6" defenseman with his pro team, and obviously myself and the agent want him to be 3'4", at least to be 3'4". And one of the ways that we can do that is by telling the director of player development, look, this is what we identified, and this is what we can do to make him faster. He took 17 strides. That's like measuring him with a calendar. 17 strides is ridiculous for a player like that. We want him to be 20 to 22. And the reason he has so few strides is because he's got that really long or really high recovery. That's the reason he's got so few strides. It goes back to the fact that a fast skater has a high stride rate. Let's see here. Strides per second, he had 3 strides per second. We want him to be 4 strides per second. But again, he's really fast. His velocity is 7.9 meters per second. This is good at testimony to the strength and power of his legs. We talked about his recovery time. And for the sake of time here, I'm just going to go down. Let's see. The fact of the matter is, if we can get his skate closer to the ice, we can increase his speed. So I'm just going to jump forward here and talk about this. When we work with him to have a quicker recovery and decrease his recovery time to 0.05 or 0.0 seconds, he will be a faster skater. Specifically over 44.8 meters, we can make him faster. He will decrease his time from 5.66 to 4.47. Again, this is just purely objective. I'm not guessing at this. It's not my philosophy. I'm not using tricks. This is what NHL players need and want. This is what the directors of player development want. This is what the coach wants. And this is what the agent wants. I'm not sure which is most important, but the player and the agent want more money, obviously. So if we can make him a faster skater, we can go from a 7 or 6 defenseman to maybe a 5 or 6 defenseman, or move up and he gets a bigger paycheck.
Dennis Chighisola's The Nature of Our Game ranks with other high-level essays, authored by the likes of Gladwell, Percival, and Coyle. It's an in-depth study of our game. It's about the challenges players face in the heat of battle, and it's about the things that influence the way players need to train, both off and on the ice. Get it now, and be well armed to answer almost any question that arises about our game.
All right, Howie. Starting in the East, we are now in the second round. Boston versus Tampa Bay, and Boston leads that series right now 1-0 with a game tonight at 7 p.m. Boston killed Tampa Bay, which really surprised me.
Yeah, that was a very
with a
big surprise.
6-2 win.
6-2 win.
So it'll be interesting to watch that game tonight.
Yeah, I'm hoping I'm going to be able to watch that game tonight while I'm at the airport flying back home.
That's right. That's right. And your 3-hour layover
Yeah.
in Atlanta.
I'll be in Atlanta. Anyone in Atlanta? Drop by and see me somewhere in
Howie will be in Atlanta for 3 hours.
I'll be there for 3 hours. Stop by and say hello.
Yeah, I can't believe you're laying over that. But that one is at 7 p.m., so you will catch some of that at the airport.
I should be able to catch it.
That's
as long
right.
as I got it on.
Right. The other series going on, Pittsburgh and Washington. Pittsburgh came on top in game 1, 3-2 against Washington. But game 2 last night, Howie, which we watched,
Yeah.
Washington, I'd call it an upset, really. I don't know. Washington looked
yes
really
and
good.
no. Washington, I think, Washington played really well. I think they played a more physical game than the first one.
Yep.
Which
It was a physical
what,
game.
Really, you need to do, I think, with Pittsburgh is get more physical on them.
Yep. There was one questionable call, but I don't think it really made a difference.
Yeah.
Um,
the one no goal that was called. But I don't know. I still kind of question it. In a way, I could see what they were looking at, but I don't know.
Yeah. But Washington comes on top 4-1, and Game 3 will be on May 1st at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. So watch out for that. That series is really turning out to be a really good one. So let's go over to the West now, where we have Winnipeg and Nashville.
Winnipeg, Nashville. Winnipeg, they're now tied at 1 game apiece after last night's Nashville win in double overtime.
Wow, and what a game.
5-4.
Yeah, that was a crazy game.
The biggest game, though, I think, was that first game where Winnipeg won 4-1, where Nashville outshot Winnipeg. I think it was like 48-19, 38-19.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And they still lost 4-1. Hellebuck played a hell of a game.
Yeah, it shows you how strong their goaltending was that night.
But
yeah.
I still think, now that we're going back up to Winnipeg's going to be at home, they have one of the best home records. So I think Nashville's going to have a task ahead of them these next 2 games.
Yeah, and it's kind of surprising because I thought Nashville would dominate this series, but I don't.
I figured it was going to be close. I have Winnipeg winning the series, but I think I would not be surprised to see Winnipeg win both games back at home.
I think we're going to see a great series, and game 3 will be May 1st at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then the other one, which.
Game 1 of the Vegas San Jose game. I was hoping that wasn't going to be a forecast of what was to come, of what this series was going to be.
Right.
With Vegas. I don't even know what kind of word would even describe it, but handing
incredible.
San Jose 7-0 beat down.
Right.
But thankfully, San Jose came back in game 2. They brought them into another overtime game. Actually, I think it was a double overtime game. And beat Vegas 4-3 in that one to tie that series up 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
I still think Vegas is going to end up winning the series, and at this point, I honestly don't. Vegas is is going to be the team, I think, to beat.
They are the team to beat.
I do have, for my picks, I do have Vegas and Winnipeg advancing to that conference final and Winnipeg winning. But I think it's going to be, if Winnipeg is going to do it, it's going to be tough.
Right. So game 3 for that is tonight at 10 p.m. So you should be just about home.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, close to being home about the time that game starts.
Well, that's 10 Eastern. I get home at 11.
Oh, well, it'll be...
So it'll
Yeah.
be 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
It'll start at 9 o'clock my time. I get home at 11, so I might be able to catch the end of the game.
Unless it goes into OT.
Yeah,
You'll be all right.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on right now. All these series have been good. And coming up next, Howie and I are going to wrap up the 27-2018 regular season with our best goals and best saves of the season. So stay tuned and we'll wait for that. It's coming right up.
This programming is brought to you by Local Video Magazine.